Number one, there's 8 of these. Don't make this mistake. Okay, number one is if you have a graphic where you cannot read the title. The font is too small for the title. It's not bold enough. The font is weird. You can't read it well. Those are things that you shouldn't do. So when you're looking at your graphic, I want you to make sure that you can read the title. It makes sense, and the font is not too small. The font is big enough and bold, and the font is readable. The main thing is to be readable and make sure that you can see the title. Number two is don't have a confusing title. You need to have it super clear so people know exactly what they're tuning into. Okay. All right. So that's number two. Number three, a podcast graphic artwork mistake is that you don't have any long tail or even short keywords in the title. You don't have any keywords because the fact that your graphic, your title, your description, your titles of your episodes, your show notes, that is searchable. So when you are creating that graphic, that artwork, okay, if it's you, if it is a graphic designer that you hire to do your podcast artwork, that's totally cool. Make sure that you have strong keywords in there. All right, number four, they don't have a picture. Graphics or podcast artwork that don't have a picture are least likely to be picked when they're doing when somebody's doing an organic search. Okay, this is not from paid ads. This is not from sharing. This is from organic searches. Okay. Okay. Number five is that it's a bad picture. Don't put a bad picture on your podcast artwork. All right. Number six, on your graphic, the podcast artwork, make sure that your colors are complementary of each other and that they're branded. You can even do a color study. If your colors are not complementary, that they don't go together, look at a color wheel on the internet. If they're not branded, if your colors are not branded, if they're not your branded colors, if they're off the wall, or if there are too many colors, that is a big podcast graphic no-no. Okay. So you want to have them complementary. You want to have them branded to what you have in your business. Number 7 mistake is your focus on the graphic is on the wrong thing. Some people like to put a picture and then the title and maybe a subtitle or your name, and then they maybe want to put a graphic in there, which is totally fine. However, some mistakes that I see people making are the graphic is too large. So they might have this huge graphic and then the picture is small. Don't do that. Your picture needs to be big and bold. And if you have Canva, professional Canva Pro, I think it's called Canva Pro, it's $12.99 a month. Y'all, it's the best, one of the best investments that I make in my business. Okay. Because if you're doing this and you need help with it, Canva will show you colors to use. It also will help you take the background out of a picture. Okay. I'm getting fired up about it, y'all. So you want the picture big and then just the accent of that graphic. Graphics need to be accented, not the focal point. Okay. That's number 7. Don't make that mistake. And then the last mistake I'm going to share with you about our podcast artwork, AKA podcast graphic, is that your name, the podcast host name, is not anywhere on the graphic. I feel like that is, okay. And I'm using graphics because number 7, I use graphics like clip art graphic. Does that make sense? Clip art graphic. Okay. And now I'm talking about the podcast host name is not anywhere on the piece of artwork. Okay. On your cover art. And so I want you to make sure that you have that included on that. And you can even, it doesn't have to be a major thing, but it could say, like it's Don't Wing It podcast with Ren Robbins. Here's the thing. If you do all the work, you get the graphic, you make sure that it's the right, the right size, and it has all the right things on it. It has the keywords. How do I find keywords? All the things. And then you get your podcast up, and then you do the introduction, you do your trailer, and then you submit it. And you make sure that there's no problems with submitting it, because you have to have everything exactly right or it would not get uploaded. And you do all the things, and then you're like, but I don't know how this is going to help my business. That's where I come in.